Hello, Oracles. How is it going? How is everyone's week? Tesla up nicely. Very happy about that. And today, the question we had that came into mind was, it's quad witching day. We've got options expiring. Where are we going to close? And it was a question of when we hit that time, are we going to come crashing back down or not? We did not. We closed up almost 2% on the day, which is phenomenal. And then we were looking at that 262 level. We filled that gap at 262. So very important that we filled that gap. And I had a question over on Twitter of, is it a positive thing that we close the gap? And filling the gap in itself isn't really a positive or negative thing. It's just, kind of like a mark on the map to track. But if we closed above that 262 level, that would be very positive. Now, we didn't close above it, but it's not like we finished down or well below it. So we're still below it. So I would still like to see us close above that 262 level of resistance. But otherwise, solid week, solid day. There are still a lot of talks from many people out there, many analysts who are still anticipating a significant pullback in the market. Don't know when that's going to happen, but still not happening yet. So we're going to continue enjoying these times. So I'll pop the charts up here for you guys to see. So we still have these gaps, and somebody was asking me questions about the gaps. So I'm going to go over those right now. So we do have this gap here that goes down to the 242 mark, or sorry, 235.23. So we've got that gap here. Below that, we have a gap that goes down to 162.95. Below that, we've got that 146, 133, 122, and 114. Now, there are gaps that we still have that do go below $100. Those go back a few years. Whether we're going to get to them or not, do not know. But again, we talk about gaps filling 9 out of 10 times. So looking at the fact that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gaps right now, 9 out of 10 times, there is a good chance we are going to be filling the majority of these gaps. Again, this isn't guaranteed. It's not saying that it is going to happen, but just something to pay attention to. So looking at these gaps, don't know when it's going to happen, but if a lot of people, including Tesla and Elon themselves, anticipate a very difficult economic time that's going to be coming up with potential deflationary pressures, that kind of thing could bring the entire market down significantly and fill those gaps. So just throwing it out there because you want to mentally prepare yourself for worst. That's how I operate. That's what this channel does. That's how I present this is I prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And in this case here, the worst could pull us down to fill that gap at 114. But on the positive side, that's an awesome buying opportunity if you are ready for it. Those of us, some of you out there, I know full well, are already, all in. You're already just riding this out. So you kind of just want it to go up. I get it. I do. But there's also many of us who would love to get another opportunity to buy even more at those levels. I do feel that once we get past that, then we can truly go up. And, it's not going to be a straight uphill climb from there. It's still going to be rough. But I think that will be setting us up for the worst being behind us. And then we can go forward. So that's just my take on all of that and the gaps. But I wanted to share it with you guys. Oscar, Tesla to the moon. Yeah, it needs to cool down before it keeps running. That it is true. Jumping back over here to the charts, we're looking at the RSI pushing 85.94. I mean, it was up near 90, 85. That's on the daily. On the weekly, we're at 67. That in and of itself is pushing up to the overbought range. And then on the monthly, we're at 54. So we're still in the middle on the monthly. And this is the monthly RSI is what is leading me to believe that maybe for the next couple of months going through Q2 earnings, we see a reverse dead cat bounce where we see this 262 gap getting filled and then we come back down. Maybe we fill this gap at 235 and then we climb up from here. Maybe we end up falling down to 221, but then bounce up and then keep on going up from there. That's my thoughts as to what could potentially play out in the nearer term over the next few months is we bounce down to fill a couple of gaps and then go up. but that still leaves these lingering gaps behind where we could potentially come down later significantly to fill before we truly do climb out of this. But uh, but Oscar, I think you're right. I think we do have a little cool off needed coming. What's going on, Karav? Chess Master, how are ya? Hello, Digital. Raymond, what's going on? Happy Friday. Uh, Kieran, is it a good idea to sell puts? My thought on puts, and again, none of this is financial advice, and I don't do it myself. I don't play options yet. I don't have the finances to do that. But in looking at it, selling puts is very much like me to what I do currently, which is I will set buy orders for certain levels that I want to buy at. So let's say the stock's at 260 right now. I like the stock pulling down to fill that gap at 235. So I'd put in a buy order at 235. So the difference between just setting a buy order at 235 and selling a put at 235 is you'll get paid a premium. And then if the stock pulls down to 235, that order executes. The same downside falls for both of them. The downside to having a buy order put in at 235 or selling a put at 235 is if we never come down to that level and then just run up, you miss out on having those shares to be able to get any of the gains on that. That's why I hedge myself. So that's why I already have shares. So even if I miss that buy, it's just a little bit extra that I'm missing out on. When it comes to the puts, though, you're still getting that premium. So you're still getting some return on that investment. You're just missing out on the further. The other downside is if we pull down to 235, that order triggers and then it continues to fall down further after that. Now you've got a buy in at 235, we fall down further. So those are the two downsides to it, but that's also the upside in getting the premium on it. And of course, if it does trigger, it hits that level and then we go up from there. Now you've got your premium and you've got those shares. Now, again, if your thesis on Tesla is 5 to 10 years out and you think we're going to be hitting, $2,000 by the year 2030, it doesn't matter if we hit 235 and then fall down further from there. You've got your shares, you've got your premium. You just have to wait a little bit longer for it to come back and get you the bigger return. That's all. And Raymond, yes, selling covered calls. Covered calls is the other way to go. So there's covered calls and selling puts. I'm not as familiar with selling calls. I've heard very good things about it. And it's very similar to selling puts. So on both, I've heard very good things. Leaps also heard very good things on, but also that's a longer term options play, so could be more risky for sure, but you usually can get a pretty good price on it. So in the times we're at right now, it's difficult, but if you really think that you are going to see the stock price go up significantly in the next 2 years, then there's a good chance you can make some good money on that. Karav, the downside of puts is the price can be way lower than your strike and you will immediately be with a loss. Yeah, exactly. So exactly. So if it screams through that 235 mark and you've bought in, now you're at a loss. And the premium that you get might not even offset that loss. So again, now you're sitting on shares that are upside down. And again, if it's something that you're holding long term, does it really matter? Probably not. But now you're upside down on it and you have to wait longer. Phil McMahon, bears are very super wary of getting caught in a bear squeeze, especially because they've been pummeled lately. Yeah, so there's a lot of shorts piling in at the moment. Again, looking at just the RSI alone, there's a lot of different charts and analysis that people do. Just looking at the RSI alone, we're extremely overbought. We are due for a pullback. Shorts have just been loading up more and more the higher we go in all stocks, not just Tesla. There's a lot of stocks that are getting heavily shorted. We've got the SQQQ, which is the inverse QQQ for the NASDAQ. That people are loading up on as well. Again, just anticipating the entire NASDAQ turning around and this AI bubble popping. So that is some thoughts that are going on out there at the moment. So I do play both sides. So I added just a couple of shares to my SQQQ. Again, it's been coming down. And actually, I'm going to bring this up on the chart and show you guys what I had seen and why I had added to it. Let me go over here, SQQQ. It doesn't show it as nice on here. I'll show you guys anyway, but it doesn't show it as nice as I saw it on my TD Ameritrade. So when you look at the SQQQ over time for the last 5 years, it's still in this range here on the RSI. It usually stays pretty low, but man, it's hard to see. This isn't doing what I wanted to show you guys because it really was like up and down and kind of stayed steady. And we're kind of at the level now where it usually bounces off and then it would come back up. So I'll see if I can get the chart going better for you guys on another time. But at least that's what I had seen. So it kind of just plays its ups and downs. We're kind of right now at the low that it plays, and that's historical low. It's not just over a short period of time. This is like 5, 10 years. So, but we'll figure that out later. European countries wish Tesla. Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen what's going on. Elon traveling all over Europe. The rumors about Spain. He met with the leaders of France, over in Italy as well. And a lot of people are speculating, is it going to be a gigafactory? What's going on? And I have no doubt there will be another gigafactory coming up in Europe. But we also have to remember that Europe right now, especially with what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, is they're really looking for energy independence. So I have no doubt that Elon's trip across Europe is really talking about a lot of energy independence and how Tesla can help all of these countries with their energy. Again, energy is that silent S curve that is sneaking up right now that's going to take off significantly. And I have no doubt this is going to play a huge role in that. Thinking about Elon has, a vested interest over in Berlin, where if, there's an energy crisis in Europe, Berlin's factory is going to feel it. So if Elon can step in with Tesla and really make sure that there's solid energy independence over in Europe, then they don't have to worry about that. That kind of, lets them ease out a little bit, breathe a breath of fresh air because they don't have to worry so much about the fact that there might be some sort of gas pipeline issues or oil issues or whatever's going on, much safer. So I have a feeling that there was a lot of discussions about a lot of things, but I think energy was probably the main focus on a lot of their conversations. Leaps are good when the stock is compressed, like when it was low 100s. Yeah, and that's another reason why I think if you want to play leaps, if we are going to get this massive pullback at the end of the year, beginning of next year, that would be a key time to take a look at leaps. Yeah, Raymond. Elon's grand tour of Europe. So many leaders want to meet him. Giorgio Maloney, Italy PM, especially. She's just all gaga over him. Oh my God, you're so right. She was just fangirling all over Elon. It was phenomenal when you see and it's not only that, but all of the leaders around the world just are huge fans of Elon. And this is why it just boggles my mind that people just don't get it. And when it comes to Tesla Q and people shorting the stock, when you take a step back and truly look at the fundamentals, ignore the stock price whatsoever, just completely take the stock price out of it, take the stock out, look at what Elon is doing, the relationships he's building, and look at who wants to have Tesla be part of their country. That's it. How many countries right now are just vying for Tesla to come into their country? Mexico just got it. We've got Canada, who we know who wants it, Spain, Italy, France, South Korea, Indonesia, Japan. So many countries out there right now begging to have Tesla coming in. And even India, who was playing hardball before, is now kind of like loosening the reins a little bit to get Tesla in there. That is the biggest fundamental piece that really no one talks about because it's just so broad based. But when you have that many people wanting Tesla in there, that means that Tesla has not only pricing power on their vehicles, but pricing power to do whatever. They can go build a factory. It's like, who's going to give us the best offer to have a factory built in your country? That's it. That's how it's working. And that's how Tesla is going to continue operating and growing as quickly and as inefficient or as efficiently as they can and inexpensively. So those are the things I pay attention to for long-term investors. Swing traders, short-term, slightly different. A lot of different things. That's why we talk about the charts as well. But when you're looking long-term, it's all about the fundamentals. And Elon is just setting up the foundation for those fundamentals. What else we got today? What is going on here? Oh, let me jump over to this. Da, 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 da. How's everybody's week? My week it actually wasn't too bad. Pretty decent, but got a lot going on this weekend. So you guys are going to notice a huge difference in my next video because my next video is coming after the event tomorrow where all of this is getting shaved off. So it'll be very exciting to do that and share it with you guys. But event is uh, what's going on, Tim? Thank you, I appreciate that. Everybody is welcome, always welcome on here. Raymond's European mountain behind you. Yes, that is the Swiss Alps. I've been trying to put up mountains that either I'm looking forward to climbing are on my radar, or if it's pertinent to whatever Tesla information is going on. Which again, because of the fact that I could put up mountains from all over the world, shows how prominent Tesla is going to be all over the world. But yes, the event tomorrow is for a coworker and friend who has cancer, and we're doing a fundraiser for him. So everybody's getting their head shaved. Are you losing your beard and mustache too? Yes, that is the plan. Not originally intended, but because of the fact that they may offer me a significant amount of money to shave it. Like shaving my head's not a big deal. Obviously, you guys saw that I was bald previously. So growing the hair out was actually the hard part. This is annoying. So like, there's a reason I didn't like to have hair. It's very efficient and streamlined, and this is not. So very annoying. But the beard I've had for 6 years. And for him, I will do it. I'll grow it right back. But for him, I will have it shaved off to raise money for him because he's totally worth it. So yes, I'm going to be babyface. Babyface next time you guys see me. I don't even know what I look like anymore with it not here. And not only that, but like I'm sure I've gotten some sun, so I'm sure I'm gonna have this big beard suntan line. It's gonna look funny, but whatever. I'll deal with it. And then I got my race on Sunday for Father's Day. So I got to make sure I put sunblock on my melon. What else is going on today? Oh, I didn't bring my water. It's all right. No big deal. So where are the dads in the house? Let's wish everybody a happy Father's Day because I don't know if I'm going to be on here before Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to everyone out there who is watching this at the moment. Appreciate all of you guys being dads, raising the kids. And happy Father's Day to my dad, who was, he and my mom are flying home tomorrow. And they got to see their first bear. My brother lives up in Avon in Connecticut, and they have bears on campus all the time. And my dad's like, I want to see a bear. And they hadn't had one all week. My dad thought we were lying. So now we have one. He finally got to see one today. It was awesome. Reminder, Tesla bot versus iBot World Chess Championship one day. That would be awesome. I have no doubt that will happen. But again, like, do you really need to have them do it? Although it is much different than like just actual computers playing chess to watch it, because watching an actual bot do it, that takes it to the whole next level. With all these UFO in the news, any thoughts? Elon was negative on it. Said if anyone would know, he would be it. Elon alien. Yeah, I thought about that. That's Elon. Is that Elon? Alien? Yeah, so the whole UFO thing, thinking about when you go back to 60s, 70s, 80s, and there were a lot of UFO sightings. We found out most of the time it was military, aircraft of some sort that was going on. So whether it is or not, I don't know. One thing I do disagree with Elon on is, he says that, there's no proof of life anywhere else in the universe, and not to say, no organisms, things like a humanoid type life form. And my thoughts are like, if the universe is theoretically infinite, then there would theoretically be an infinite amount of possibilities for a humanoid life form to be out there. And even if it's not infinite, and he had given some sort of explanation of to how it could be, it is like a solid form. If you picture like anybody see Men in Black, where the kids playing with marbles and there's universes and all of the marbles. And if it's that type of thing where it is a contained um, full universe, but it's ever expanding and maybe moving around, but it stays a steady form. It's ever changing, and just knowing how many galaxies we can see out there, and there's got to be something else. I'm just one of those people who is like, you know what? There's got to be something else out there, just based upon probability alone. There's got to be some other planet. We've already seen them through NASA that there's potential planets out there that could sustain life. So I have a feeling that there's got to be life forms out there of some sort. That's my take on it. So I will disagree with Elon, but maybe Elon is just playing dumb and he knows that there are things and he's not allowed to say anything. So he's saying that there's not. I don't know. But Elon's not usually one to lie. He just doesn't give us all the information all the time because, he can't just divulge it all at once. We're going to make it happen. As God is my bloody witness, I'm hell bent on making it work. Legacy quote, yes. Oh man. And when Elon puts his mind to things, it happens. That's it. And that's one of the things I love about Elon. And you know, it's so many people come out and bash him for so much because everybody is so short-sighted. And everybody's like, well, Elon said FSD was going to be here in 2019. It's like, yeah, dude. And then he came out and said, hey, I was wrong. Like, if you can't respect someone for coming out and saying that they were wrong, then that you are the one who's really at fault there. Like he said it was going to be there, but was everybody else there as well? He wasn't the only one. Tesla wasn't the only one who said, hey, FSD is going to be solved. There was like a half a dozen other companies out there who said the same thing. And guess what? Out of those half a dozen companies, Tesla's the only one still working on it. The other ones gave up. So you tell me who was right and who was wrong in that aspect. And Elon's obviously gotten better with his, I don't say timing, but at least the way he expresses what the timing is, because now he understands it better. So based upon what he understood previously, he thought they would have it solved in 2019. They ran into problems that were unforeseen. He now learned from that and has now explained to everyone why that problem is. No one else who gave up on this could explain why it is. The reason no one else could explain why they couldn't get past it and why they couldn't solve it at that point is because they couldn't figure it out. But Tesla and Elon did. They figured it out. They explained why they figured it out and why it didn't work. Now they take it to the next level. So that's truly what they are doing, and the way he explains it and the fact that he expresses it is important. Um, let's see what else we got here. Bum, 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 bum. Oops. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it was an exciting week. Lots of good fundamental stuff. Lots of great stuff in the stock. What else you guys want to chat about? What else is going on? Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah, and thank you, Raymond. Wow, read my mind. Some Wall Street analysts seem to be changing their tune, start to project revenue by treating Tesla also as an AI company. That is true. So we're starting to see a lot of analysts bumping up price targets. So that's good because usually it's the last 2 weeks of the quarter that ends up happening. We saw a lot of them going up early in this month. So it's nice to see that that these analysts are going up on these price targets. Now, I will be having Peggy on Monday. We're going to be discussing projections for deliveries, for production, and we are going to be talking about the macro environment, financials for Tesla, and then, of course, we're going to do our live stream for Q2 earnings. But it's usually the last 2 weeks that we will be seeing all of the analysts coming out and sharing all of their updates with everyone. So all of them will be updating their projections for production and deliveries. And then, of course, on July 2nd, we should be getting the Q2 delivery numbers. That there is when we're going to see all of the analysts and price targets change significantly if there is a discrepancy when it comes to what the estimates are for deliveries versus what actually came in. And that's the piece that a lot of people miss is, when expectations come in, basically every single valuation model that is out there is strictly going to be starting with what are the deliveries, because deliveries are like, hey, what's my average selling price times deliveries, there's your revenue. That's really your starting point. So everybody has their valuation models built out based upon their projections for deliveries. So as soon as that delivery number comes in, everybody just plugs in that new delivery number to their valuation model, and it's going to adjust all their price targets immediately. The idea of the Tesla bot in 5 years blows my mind, and Elon has made it clear that it will be a larger share of the company's worth. Absolutely. And now my thought on this is, Elon said that he thinks it's going to be out in the next 5 years, which I'll believe it when I see it. Not to say I don't think it can happen, but obviously they have to solve FSD in order to get the Tesla bot to work properly. And then the actual ability to get the Tesla bot to, just be able to function like they want it to. So I think we're going to have a very rudimentary version of the Tesla bot operating in factories within the next 2 to 3 years, maybe even in Mexico. And then after that, once they get that on the factory floor, that's just like when we have FSD on the roads with the vehicles right now, bringing in all of that data and information. The more Tesla bots they can put on the factory floors, the more information they're going to gather from a humanoid robot standpoint versus a vehicle standpoint. When they do all of that, then they're going to have all of this new data coming in, and they can really spiral up on that as well. They'll already have the foundation built for FSD. So now they just have to take it and recompute it for a humanoid robot versus a vehicle. So it should be pretty smooth and straightforward after that. Then they just need to get the robotics and the functionality of the robotics down and flow seamlessly with the FSD in it. And at that point, then it's really going to take off. But seriously, like when you start looking at, he's looking at, tens of billions of bots, like that's insane. And the dollars you can pull from that, yeah, that will dwarf the rest of the company. When you look at the company, and we'll say, I'll give it 25 years, 25 to 30 years from now, when you look back, the Tesla bot and the revenue that the Tesla bot is bringing in will most likely look the way it looks right now, the way EVs dwarf everything else in the company. So think about the fact that EVs are still going to continue growing the way they're growing. Energy is going to take off and grow and perhaps surpass EVs. And then if those are at that size, but the Tesla bot itself is dwarfing those two to make it look like they're insignificant amounts of revenue coming in, that's mind-boggling. I posted video of Shanghai Gigafactory, said Model 3, 3 cars detected maybe from the revamped production line. Looking to start road tests soon. Announcement could be positive on stock. Yeah, so I mean, obviously we're anticipating the Highland. Nobody has actual true details on the Highland, really. We've got, a bunch of rumors and stuff that's out there. But looking at all of that that's going on, maybe we hear about the Highland at the release of the production release. Or maybe we'll wait and they're actually going to announce that at the Q2 earnings call. Because Elon says he doesn't really like to use earnings calls to announce new platforms, but it doesn't mean that they can't announce a platform refresh. Because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I was just getting into Tesla when it came out, but that Model S and X refresh, I thought that they had announced that at an earnings call. I could be wrong, but a refresh they would announce at an earnings call most likely. Tim, did you like the camouflage Cybertruck? Oh yeah, that was actually pretty cool, and I love the fact that they took it through what was it? A Whataburger? No, some burger joint down there. They took it through that, which is pretty darn awesome. Just getting it out there. So like you don't even need to have it camouflaged to be able to turn heads, but having it camouflaged just made it look even cooler. So I was definitely a huge fan of the camo. What data can you get in robotics and manufacturing? It's static data. So I'm not talking about the robotics from the actual machine itself. When you put a humanoid robot like a Tesla bot walking around the factory and actually doing jobs that humans are doing, that data that it's pulling in from that, from its just like FSD is doing when cars drive, it's always learning and adapting to its environment. When you put it in a humanoid robot, that is what is going to actually make it become that data that you want to have coming in and make it learn like a human, like it's looking through human eyes and understanding all of that. Um, that is the data that they're going to be pulling in. Yes, In and Out Burger. Thank you. I knew it was a burger joint. I just couldn't remember which one it was because I don't. We don't have In and Out up here, or do we? No, we don't have any In and Outs up here. I don't eat burgers at fast food anymore, unless I'm on the road and I have no choice. Favorite Tesla product is the semi truck. Design is gorgeous. I do love the semi. And of course, unfortunately, we heard that they're see, and this is one of the things too, is like, we heard news about the semi, and we know that it's not going to be a massive revenue generator, at least not at first. But we heard the news that it's not even going to be into, you know, really more mass production until the end of 2024. That's a negative fundamental piece. So we have to, make sure we take a look at both things here. So, when you're looking at that side of it and you see a negative fundamental piece there, but the stock didn't negatively react to it, that tells me that there's a lot of FOMO going on and a lot of just pushing the stock higher and higher. And not to say that it should have been something that pulled it down because there was so much other positive news, but there wasn't even a reaction to that. Um, but maybe it's also because of the fact that we haven't gotten any details on the side on the semi yet. We haven't really gotten much new information on it, so that could be why as well. So people are like, well, we were already anticipating it not really coming out and making a big impact. So if it gets delayed, so be it. Dominic Webb, what next groundbreaking tech should Tesla build after FSD and Tesla bot? Oh, see, that's the whole thing. Like, if you start looking back, even 5 years ago, Elon said that Optimus wasn't even on their radar, not even a thought. So who knows what's going to come up at that point? It's kind of one of those things where if he recognizes, hey, here's an opportunity, let's do something about it. Because again, as they were coming up with FSD, they're solving that. And he's like, you know what? FSD and AI, obviously, he was involved with AI. So it's like, well, if we've got AI and FSD and we're working on that, well, the next logical step would be AI in a humanoid robot. Well, heck, let's do it. And so that kind of just came together. So after FSD and Tesla bot, and thinking about the fact that Tesla bot's probably not going to be really doing it, I'm guessing, till the end of the decade at the earliest. Who knows at that point? For something like that, it could be aircraft. Maybe they're going to get into it. Maybe it's something where they're going to take FSD and put it into um, SpaceX. They're going to put it into Starship. And I have no doubt because they could put it into Starship and hey, we don't even need pilots. So think about the fact that you have a 6-month journey to get yourself to Mars. If that is going to be the case, then, instead of having a crew that needs to get sleep and all the, I will call them downsides, I guess, of being a human, you don't have to worry about that with FSD or robots or anything like that. So I think the next groundbreaking tech might actually just be merging all of these things together. Exactly. Tesla's an idea factory. You never know. And that's the other thing too, is it's not just Elon's ideas. Like everybody there, and he touts the engineers all the time. He's like, it's not me that's doing all of the work. It's everyone. And if everyone is doing all of the work, then other people are coming up with the ideas. And that's the great part about Tesla. And that's one of the reasons why so many engineers want to go work for him, because he's not out there just stealing people's ideas. He's taking people's ideas, giving them credit for them, and running with them. He's like, hey, I like that idea. Let's try it. And people can see their real ideas coming to fruition right in front of their eyes. It's phenomenal. And there's no other company really that does that on the scale that Tesla does. You can create an autonomous system that to land a plane. That is true. And I have no doubt that'll come. So, like the FSD AI, once they get it solved, it's going to have so many use applications. Actually, now thinking about it, the amount of use applications it's going to have, and Tesla being okay to license it all out, that's big. I mean, Think about it in military vehicles. Don't need to have any humans going into areas that are dangerous. You can have, a vehicle with FSD driving in there and it's going to have AI and learn from that. There's going to be a lot of use cases when it comes to FSD. So that's a great point. There's going to be a lot of use cases for FSD. Elon, in an interview today, talked about potential mental health for long voyages in space. Seems like Tesla bot will be needed for more than a few years to start Mars. My theory on Mars is, putting all of Elon's companies together. SpaceX is going to get you there. Tesla bot's going to start building it. Boring Company is going to start doing things. Picture yourself, Total Recall. They built everything underground because it gets you out of the elements and it's easier to contain everything when you're underground. So you would have Boring Company go under there, make itself a small underground city. You'd have the Tesla bots starting this all up and they would build the basics of it so that humans can go there and can just seamlessly get in there and start doing everything that they need to do. So I have a feeling that's exactly what's going to happen is, we may have some humans go up there initially to scout it out and see what's going on, but then they would end up having Tesla bots go up there and start, actually building Mars. I would like to see a Tesla smart city with no road. So actually with no road. Interesting. Huh. So I think Elon is in the process of at least planning it right now. We've already heard about, you go back 100 years, you start looking at factories. I live in a town where factories were big. And what did factories do? They usually put up housing for all of their employees and other factory workers because it just made it easier. Like, well, here's your housing, here's where you live. Now it's an easy, short commute right to the factory. And heck, maybe you could just walk right to the factory, but it's right there. They build their own little communities around this. Elon, I believe, is already doing this for his factories, and he's going to build little communities around it. And you're going to have schools, which Elon has already talked about making his own school. So you're going to have little Tesla towns with all of the factory workers that are going to be there. You're going to end up having schools that are built there. So I have no doubt we're going to be seeing smart cities popping up. And it's going to be like the new wave of manufacturing as we move forward. Because I have a feeling once people see the benefits of that, there's going to be a lot of other companies that are going to be doing it as well. I like this. Elon is the Willy Wonka of the tech world. You're not wrong, man. But and the boat that he drives on is a Cybertruck, and it's just as crazy. Build Jurassic Park on the moon. I don't know if you guys heard, but I think over in Russia, was it? Yeah, I think Siberia, they're trying to bring back the woolly mammoth, like total Jurassic Park type stuff. And I was like, are you sure you guys want to do that? There's a few movies out there pointing to all of the reasons why that's a bad idea. Some families will change their last name to Tesla Battery. I don't know if they'll go that far, but I mean, there are some people who really, really love Tesla. I mean, I love Tesla. I wouldn't go that far, but I'm a big fan of what they're doing. Terraforming will be extreme difficult, unlike some of the sci-fi movies make it out to be. Yeah, I mean, I have no doubt. Just because thinking about the fact that we know all of what Earth has to offer, but when we first started going into terraforming Earth, there was a lot of things that we ran into as problems that we had to problem solve and figure out. Different types of rocks, different types of, hey, here's gas pockets and different things. You go up into another planet, there may be different things up there that we're not accustomed to here on Earth. So again, another reason why having Tesla bots do it is a lot safer version, because you have Tesla bots doing it. What's the worst that happens? You have an explosion, a cave in, some problems, you lose a couple of Tesla bots. Okay, we learned. Now we go up there with more Tesla bots, figure it out. We're all set. So Elon bought Gene Wilder's old house before they could tear it down. Yeah, that was so. And that's another thing too, is like when people start beating up on Elon for who he is, I'm like, dude, this is the kind of stuff that he has done. Like he did stuff like that. He bought it before he could tear it down. I think he gave it to his Gene Wilder's daughter. Is that who it was? I can't remember who he ended up giving it to. It was a family member, and he gave it back to Gene Wilder's family, and that was it. And I'm like, that's the kind of guy Elon is. Robert, what's going on? I'm late. Hello, my man. Great to be here. Neo finally waking up. Yes. So we can get on the skate. Yeah, Neo's another one. So, and again, I wanted to buy Neo at 7. I missed it. Started at 7:45. I was like, do I buy it? Do I not? I chose not to, but popped over 10 today. It closed a little over 9. I still think Neo, because China won't let their because China wants to take over the world with EVs as badly as they do. I cannot see them letting Neo fail. So they've been doing better and better and being more successful, but between Neo, Xpeng, Li Auto, BYD, China is going to make a major impact in the future of the world when it comes to EVs, and Neo will be part of that. So there's of course always that tensions between US and China, which is ridiculous, but that's always going to be there. But the reality is they're going to make an impact. Elon have a bigger impact on the world than Henry Ford had, as long as Elon stays away from Twitter. Yes and no. Thinking about Ford and the fact that he still had a hand in the media, it's really going to be no different. But I think Elon and Twitter, in my opinion, I think Elon is doing something good with Twitter and really kind of opening a lot of people's eyes to more of both sides of things. And there's more than just two sides. There's a lot of different sides of what's going on, and there's been a huge silent majority of people who don't even care about either side. And I think that's really where Elon sits, and that's where Twitter is sitting right now, is right in the middle. And you're really excluding, and I don't want to say excluding, but the extreme left and extreme right now don't have as loud of a voice as they used to, because more of the people in the middle and more of that silent majority aren't as silent anymore. And that is the piece that I really like about Twitter. And so what Elon does on Twitter, yeah, Elon is Elon. Nobody's going to stop that, but I think him having Twitter and allowing it to be the platform that it is going to change the world significantly. The company Colossal is cloning woolly mammoths to be placed in Russia to slow down permafrost. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you doing some research on that. Yeah, I just happened to hear about it. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a big place over there. That's cool, but we've already seen some crazy things happen. Like there's, was it the Mexican drug cartel? I can't remember who it was. Had hippos, and they couldn't get the hippos, so the hippos ended up getting free, and now there's like hundreds of hippos running around in an area. So who knows what's going to happen with woolly mammoths over there. Neo's battery swapping seems silly to me. It isn't. It isn't. So when you're in an area that is highly populated, like we already see it in California right now with the charging, is there's a big backup when it comes to charging. A lot of people living in apartment complexes, there's only so many charging stations you can have for these apartment complexes. Now, obviously, Tesla's building more and more chargers to make this more accessible. And then you can ask yourself, well, what's the difference between chargers and gas? So, gas pumps usually are in and out in 5 minutes. Chargers right now, you can take 20 minutes. You can get a couple of 100 miles of range in about 20 minutes, which is awesome, but it's still 20 minutes. And we know that that technology is going to improve significantly over time. So over time, they'll get there. But for the moment, battery swapping in highly populated areas, which China has obviously plenty of, is just more reasonable and logical to go in and out of that battery swap. You move on and you go from there. The downsides I don't like to it are, and I'm sure their technology is coming along as well, is like if instead of you having a battery that's, you're like, hey, I got a great battery, it's no problem. And then you swap it out to somebody else's battery who, maybe they didn't take care of it well or whatever is going on. You're taking a chance there by doing that. But I'm sure the swapping stations now have a way of testing the batteries before running them back through to somebody else's vehicle. Plus, what happens at a battery swap station when it runs out of batteries to swap? Like you're like, all right, well, there's no batteries left in here. Do they charge them? Are they charged well enough? What happens if there's too many people there? Lots of questions. So obviously it's working for Neo, but I do think that they're going to have to make sure that they have charging capacity and capabilities as well. Tesla should buy Colossal and make cyborg dinosaurs. What is this, Dinobots? This is Transformers? That'd be great. Henry Ford got stuck in his ways for too long. That is true, and that happens. I mean, that happens to the best of us. A lot of people just, they find what's good for them, and they're in a groove, and they're good. Elon, at least as of right now, and he's not a spring chicken anymore. He's in his, was he 51, 52? Gosh, um, he is still at a place where he's learning. He's constantly wanting to do something new. He does not like being stagnant. Thinking about, why did he buy Twitter? Well, he bought Twitter for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, he thought, a lot of things going on with the politics and he wanted the voice to get out there. But when it came to Tesla, it wasn't really, I don't want to say it wasn't challenging him anymore, but like all the stuff that he thrived on, which was, manufacturing hell, which he says sucked. And I know it did suck, but I think those are the times where he thrives when he's under extreme pressure to get things done. That's where he thrives. And he was missing that because the company was moving along so smoothly. So he's like, there's really no challenges right now for me. Boom, here comes Twitter. Let me throw myself into the fire again and get that bullet going again. So those are the things that Elon does. So who knows how long he's going to continue doing that for, but if he can continue doing that forever, I think he's going to have a significant impact even further than he already has. Kava, a Mediterranean restaurant chain, IPO today at incredible price like Chipotle. Why are they worth so much? Equal to Tesla PE ratio? Yeah, I don't know. Like I thought about that with Chipotle also, which just boggled my mind because it's like I'm in retail and I know the food industry is no different. Margins are not high at all in these businesses. So it's not like you're buying a software company. So I really don't know, man. You're right. It just questions. I don't know. I don't know why they are at that price, but hey, they're trading at that price, so be it. Harry Bar and Jim Farley compete with Oompa Loompas. That's true. Sounds trading your nice clean propane tank for an old rusty one. Exactly, Alan. That's exactly it. And in my line of work, when I was in our other branch, that's what we do. We did tank swaps, and tank fills, and it's like, yeah, like you have somebody come in here with a brand new one, and you're giving them a old painted piece of crap that you just, somebody else decided, yep, that one is good to go. But is it really? Yeah, I don't know. And it's a great point too, Raymond. Battery swappings can't scale when a lot of cars waiting still takes over 5 to 10 minutes to swap per battery car. And that's what's going to end up happening is eventually charging is going to be faster than battery swapping. And not only that, but when it comes to people who here in the US, it's a little bit different than China. We have more people who have their own homes. And so there you have a charging at home. Like you don't want anything to do with battery swapping. Like I'll just charge at home. Why would I need battery swapping? I don't. Do you think Elon will step down or work till the day he dies? He'll do something until the day he dies. Whether because to him it's not work. This is his passion. This is what he feels. This is what his purpose is. So think about like a Warren Buffett. He's never going to be like, I'm going to retire. There is no retirement. This is his life. He will do this until he dies. In one way or another, he's going to be involved in something about changing the world for the better for the rest of his life. That's just who Elon is. So I do think he'll step down as CEO because I think, as he said before, when it comes to the CEO tasks, he has none of that appeals to him. He's going to, at some point, once he feels comfortable with somebody else running it and the company is already moving in a direction where it's good and comfortable, where he can step back and really go into the stuff that he thrives on, the production design, the engineering, things like that. That I think is where he will end up living out the rest of his days, is just helping all of his companies do things like that. I do not think he's going to live a Jeff Bezos lifestyle. Elon will live forever. His Neuralink company will insure it. I mean, hey, it could be just like Futurama where we just put his head into a jar and he's still talking to us. Yep, they say that at Tesla, the pencils are never put down. That's it. When you think about manufacturing in, Henry Ford's day is this is what we're doing, and it came to like every factory, they tried to do new and better, just like Tesla is doing. The difference here with Tesla is we now have the technology to be like, all right, we're getting this data feed coming in nonstop all day long, we can make changes on the fly on the factory floor to improve our vehicles as we go and don't need to do it in the traditional style when it comes to legacy auto, which is all right, well, we're getting a lot of feedback from our customers. So the next time we do a refresh on our vehicle, we can implement all of these new things. Tesla doesn't wait for a refresh. Tesla just does all of these things on the fly. Then when it's time for a refresh, they change things significantly, like the entire manufacturing process is what they're going to change, and not just like the look of the vehicle or a couple of parts. Elon will be buried on Mars. You know what? Didn't he even say that he wasn't even sure if he was going to go to Mars? Like, obviously, sending humans to Mars is one thing, but I don't think he's even planning on going himself, which is kind of odd. But you know, that would make sense to bury him there, I guess, maybe in our eyes as Tesla fans. Oh man, you guys have been fun tonight. Thank you. You guys are great every night. Um, let's see. What else do we have going on? Oh, here we go. Elon reminds me of Buckminster Fuller. The reward of being a good problem solver is to be heaped with more difficult problems to solve. Yeah, that's legitimately it. And he's that guy who thrives on that. Is hey, give me the problems. I want more problems to solve. And it's like if he doesn't have a problem to solve, he's going to go find a problem to solve. What other Elon company do you want to invest in most? Starlink and SpaceX for sure. Um, you know, I think Twitter is going to be awesome when it IPOs, but I would much rather have SpaceX and Starlink. And I know that obviously right now they're combined, and Starlink is most likely going to IPO on its own. But I would take them both. Both equally, I think, are going to be awesome in the future. And think about like SpaceX when we do become a multiplanetary species. SpaceX already right now is basically dominating the world when it comes to space travel, or getting up to space. So when you're looking at us actually making it more of a normal, regular thing, which this could be decades and decades away, but at that point, like that is going to be big dollars. Yes, yeah, no, I knew what you meant, Raymond. Transport his body after he dies, but like just think about the fact that he doesn't even want to. Not that he doesn't want to, but he hasn't even spoken about going there when he's alive. What is it? Para going to sell a asset for 2.2 billion in the news Thursday? Huh. Interesting. Why the big sell off today? Sell off in what? In the market? Um, because obviously Tesla did not sell off. Just curious. Why the big sell off to what sell off you're talking about, Michael? Just let me know. I would like to invest in X Corp. Yeah, it may be IPO in 3 years. I don't know if it's gonna. So X Corp, yeah, that would be Twitter. Because I know he's gonna switch it over to that. And I don't know. I'm thinking at some point he might put everything under an umbrella, but I think they're going to be so large that they wouldn't be able to. Um, that's just my thought. I don't know if regulators would allow Elon to merge all of these companies together. Meta doing it what they did, sure, that's not as big, but taking a company like Tesla, who's going to have energy, Tesla bots, all of that on its own, plus SpaceX, Starlink, Twitter, Neuralink, Boring Company. It also at this point right now because the other companies are not doing as well that would all bring Tesla down, so it wouldn't be good for investors. But in the future, if they're all doing well, I don't know. Yeah, Jerry, Starlink could be really nice. And I'm really hoping that the deal that Elon gives all of us as Tesla investors, as he said he's going to do something, if we can get in at pre-IPO prices, that would be awesome. SpaceX isn't making any money yet, and always jump on the news to sell off in the same. Yeah, or SPCN. Sorry. So yeah, I owned it when it was just a SPAC, and it was doing crazy during SPAC times. I made some great money on it, and obviously it's just completely pummeled right now with all the rest of the SPACs. But Yes, the market itself. So, Michael, the reason is typically when you see the market run like we saw it run this week, we get to that Friday fade, and the markets are closed on Monday. Don't forget for Juneteenth. So, especially going into a long weekend, you'll see that sell off happening because that's 3 days where who knows what news is going to come out over the weekend. We could go into a situation where, hey, China invades Taiwan, market's going to tank on Monday. People want to be safe and take their profits on Friday, especially with the run that we had. Um, Plus, with quad witching going on today, a lot of options expiring. There's a lot of that coming out today as well. So I'm sure there's a lot of people taking their profits, selling out of their options. So I have no doubt that was a big reason why we saw the market pull down at the end of the day today. Could Starlink still fund the Mars mission if it IPOs by itself? I doubt it. I don't think Starlink generates enough revenue for that. And there may be a reason why Tesla wants to split it out, or sorry, Elon wants to split Starlink from SpaceX, just because Starlink going public could draw different investors. And Elon has already spoken about the challenges between public traded companies and privately traded companies. And it's a lot easier to run a privately traded company because you don't have to deal with as many shareholders in the BS. So going public with Starlink would take that away. So that still means that SpaceX, he can still run the way he wants, but he's comfortable enough with Starlink being public. So I don't know if he would ever intermingle the two again with their finances. But he has enough private investors coming in for Starlink or for SpaceX to keep that floating and doing what it needs to do. X Corp won't include SpaceX and Tesla. Elon indicated will be China's WeChat. Oh yeah. No, I knew X Corp was basically Twitter, Twitter and just bigger. But I knew that previously there was X Corp was going to be the giant blanket company and the umbrella over all of it. But I think at this point right now, it's really just going to be the Twitter side of things and the social media side. Yeah, Starlink IPO is waiting for a cash flow positive, which they said could be this year or next year. So the next 2 years, it's going to go cash flow positive. So going back to 2025, we might actually see Starlink going IPO in 2025. So just another awesome thing that's going to happen in 2025 in my eyes. And gosh, I will be very disappointed if 2025 isn't as awesome as I'm making it out to be, but sure looks like a lot of signs are pointing to it. Oh boy. All right, folks. I'm going to be jumping off of here in a moment. Got a lot of stuff I got to get ready for this weekend. But you guys, awesome. Awesome as always. Love chatting with you guys every single time we get this. So I'll be coming out with Peggy on Monday. So if I don't have a video that comes out for you guys this weekend, I will be on here 11 a.m. Monday morning Eastern time with Peggy. So he and I are going to be discussing a whole multitude of things. Bring your questions, bring yourselves. We're going to have a great time discussing a whole bunch of stuff, chatting about what we think is going to happen at Q2 earnings as well. So we will see you guys all on Monday morning. Thank you all so much. Have yourselves a great weekend. And again, anybody who is out there who's a dad, happy Father's Day.